Hello and welcome to Hole 15, the day of operations. You've been working hard. You've been spending months preparing for this day. You want it to go flawless. You want it to be perfect, or at least run smoothly. All your preparation is paid off to this day. So some key things to remember when pulling off a great smooth day of operations. This is game day, so let's do it right. First of all, it's about your volunteers. Remember, they're the key to your success, not just in the preparation of your event, but the day of the event. They need to be prepared. You need to get your volunteers together. As we talked about in the timeline, it's important to have a pre-volunteer meeting. Get all the volunteers together and get them equipped for what's going to happen that day. So here's how you're going to need your volunteers the day of your event. Number one, get them there early. Have a meeting, go through the schedule, make sure that they're up to speed, that they have all the answers to all the questions, because golfers are going to ask them questions like, what are we playing for, and where are the holes contests, and what's the games we're playing for. So they want to know these things. Prepare your volunteers. So get them educated with a pre-event meeting in advance. Then also, you're going to want some volunteers there early to set up the golf course. These volunteers are going to put up signs. They're going to make sure that registration tables are set up, the games and contests are set up, but they're going to want to do all the preparation to make sure that the golf course is ready to go. Next, you need a checklist. Every volunteer should have a checklist of what they're supposed to be, where they're supposed to be, and what they're supposed to be doing that day. And your volunteers need to be equipped with every single thing so nothing slips through the cracks. The next step is registration. Very important. Registration can be the most chaotic part of your day if you're not set up properly. So I encourage you to get your volunteers there early, set up registration, and make sure that everything is set up perfectly. You need a place for golfers to sign in and get their gift packages. They need to make sure that where they're playing, what foursome they're in, and what cart they're going to be assigned to, and what hole they're going to be starting off on. So make sure your volunteers are early to set up registration. We also need folks set up as photographers, whether that's the group photo, whether that's the team photos, or individual photos. Make sure your photographers have their equipment ready and that they're set up on the proper holes to be effective with photography. We also need all the games and contests set up in advance. You need volunteers assigned to those games and contests to make sure that they run smoothly and don't hold up the golfers for that day. Weather is a big consideration for the day of the event. Many of you may be in areas where the weather might not be dependable, so you need to be prepared. What I have found regarding the weather is that in most cases, the game will go on. If it's just sprinkling or a little bit of light showers, the game will go on. If it comes down pouring, the golf course is going to suspend the event. If they suspend the event, they may have a rain day scheduled for you in the future, or if you finish 9 holes, they may just say, that's it. But if it's going to rain, be prepared. If they're only going to finish 9 holes, have some fun games and contests indoors that the golfers can participate in so that they don't feel like they've missed out on 9 holes of golf. Pace of play is a very important key element of that day. Golfers want to play between 4 and 5 hours. If it goes on longer than that, then you're going to want to make sure that you ensure the golfers aren't upset. So try to take some steps to ensure that the pace of play is going effectively and doesn't take too long. Here's some ideas on how to keep pace of play going. First of all, make sure the golf course is not too difficult. If you've got a bunch of beginner golfers and you're on a very tough golf course, this can make for a long day. So if it is a tough golf course, you may want to move the tees up forward so it's not so difficult for some of these golfers. If it is difficult, then you're going to want to have some spotters, people there to watch where the ball is going. Whether these are volunteers or paid staff, make sure that they're watching the ball so there's not too many lost balls throughout the round. A good tool to keep pace of play is rangers. The golf course will provide a ranger or two to drive around the golf course and make sure that the golfers are playing at the right pace. If some golfers are playing too slow, they're going to move those golfers right along. The format is crucial when it comes to pace and play because, again, if you have beginner golfers, you're going to need a scramble to keep that pace of play going. If you have more advanced golfers, then an individual play still works for them as long as everyone's following the rules. You want to encourage the golfers in advance not to look too long for their ball because this will take up a lot of time and delay the game. So one of the best ways to make sure that the pace of play is going is to not have the games and contests take up too much much time. That's why they need to be precise, volunteers educated, so the games and contests are running smoothly. Spotters are a great thing to have, as I mentioned, to see if balls are getting lost in the woods and keeping track of the balls that are getting lost. But one of the best ways that not only will keep pace of play going, but adds a bit of class to your event are four caddies. Four caddy is an individual, volunteer, or paid that helps the golfers. They help them rake the sand, they help them clean the golf ball, they help them judge the distance to the flag and how far they have to hit the golf ball. This is a fun thing for golfers. It keeps the pace of play going, makes them feel like professionals, and it's just a fun thing to have. Now, the golfers will have to tip those four caddies at the end of the round, but that's okay. That's normal and understandable. But the key is having a flawless day, a smooth day that golfers don't get frustrated. You don't want to have a long day of golf because they'll be frustrated and won't want to come back the next year. So let it run smoothly. Get your volunteers there early. Make sure everyone knows what's going on. Get everyone in their place. Everyone knowing their responsibility with checklists so that nothing slips through the cracks. If you do these things and keep the pace of play going, between 4.5 to 5 hours, you're going to have a great day of golf and a perfect day of operations.